Just want to give you a quick tip on how I'm going to keep this steel from rusting. It's very similar to the way that I keep the cast iron on my tools from rusting. So anyways, I'm just using a little bit of denatured alcohol, and I'll go ahead and wipe down all the unpainted parts on here. Then I'm going to wipe it off, get off any dirt or anything. I'm using just some 320 grit sandpaper coming back. I'm just hitting it and cleaning it up. I'm also softening the edges all the way down and around the corners. You don't want anything sharp. I'm going to use the denatured alcohol again to go ahead and get off any of the metal shavings or filing dust that occurred from sanding it. And then after that, I'm going to take just a paper towel, spray some Bow Shield T9 on there, and just go ahead and run it up and down this, you know, for a little while, and take it off and let it dry. Then I'm going to come back and just buff it off. The steel actually absorbs that stuff and locks out any moisture. It does wonders for keeping rust out of the system. So that's how I do it. Alright, I'm halfway through installing the Z-axis, and I just wanted to stop and get some video of this point. Also go over a few things that I've come into, not issues with, but just things that I think are key points. So I'll go ahead and describe those right now. Alright, one of the things was, and this has taken some time to do, was just making sure that this gantry was a 90-degree angle to the spoil board. Just took a lot of trial and error to get it set in place, but I managed to go ahead and fix that, and as you can see, I got no daylight in between my square. One of the things I did have to do in order to get that was I found that I just needed some more support on this upright, so I actually ended up using a Forstner bit and drilling down in there probably, I don't know, maybe an inch or so, and using a really heavy duty screw to come in there and sink it in as a third contact point. These were holding the board towards the front of that piece. This one holds a little bit towards the back. It doesn't allow it to pivot at all because I do have a little bit of a shim. So that was taken care of. Next up, I'm having to square this actual high plate, which is what connects the entire Z-axis to the slot, the linear motion on the gantry. And I found that it's just slightly out of square here. And it's about the size of a piece of paper. So the shim that I'm going to use this time around is just going to be a little piece of paper. The way to check is that if you can just barely slide it through there and it stops the daylight coming in, then that's your shim size. So because it's at the bottom and not at the top, I'm just going to loosen the bolts down here in the bottom to slide that piece of paper in there, and that's going to go ahead and correct that. Alright, I also wanted to talk about getting this thing set up to begin with. Getting it all together was a little bit awkward, but I found out that using the right style clamps, in this case parallel clamps, they work superior to the F clamps that I started out with using, and it was just too much fuss. It's going in off alignment and stuff. So parallel clamps at this point is definitely a lot easier to get everything aligned with. Also, you want to make sure that all your set screws on the back here, these are the ones that tighten down these wheels against the steel. This is one of those points where everything kind of has to be done before you start bolting this thing up. Also, you want to make sure you got a 90-degree going this way as well as this way. And obviously I just talked about this one being off by the width of a paper, so I'm going to take care of that now. But so far so good. It's coming together, and this is really a spot that you've got to pay attention to getting everything set up right. Alright, I went ahead and put in that paper. It's actually cardstock is what I was using, but as you can see now we got no daylight, so it's a big square, perfectly 90 degrees, and I might have to do this with every piece that I bolt on, but that's alright. As long as I'm square at the end, that's all I really care about. You could actually wait till the end and do it that way if you want to, but I'm doing little adjustments as I go instead of big adjustments at the end. Also, I wanted to let you know that I am using thread locking compound, the blue stuff, and I'm putting it in every single one of these bolts that I'm tightening all this stuff on. So anywhere where I'm going metal to metal contact with the bolts, I'm going ahead and using it there. Also, I have not forgotten about this back part. I know I've been talking about it, this brace. I just processed some material here, so got a big heavy piece of hardwood, and I'm going to go ahead and bolt this guy up all the way across the back and just add a little bit more rigidity. Again, like I had said before, I'm not sure if it's needed or not, because I think the mechanical aspect of having the gears on the gear track won't allow us to flex at all, but by putting this on here, there's going to be a lot of weight sitting on the front. I just want to go ahead and do it. Better safe than sorry. Alright, and here's the big piece that's going to go on the front. Other than that, everything's moving nicely. I'll show you real quick. So here's the gantry rolling, and it's super smooth. Got this part rolling up here, so the whole machine's coming together, and there's a little bit of tension on here. It rolls nice and smooth, but I couldn't just, I'm throwing it when I'm doing that and it's not sliding off. So you want a little bit of tension on there. That's how all your rollers should be. And one quick tip, I don't know if you got something like this laying around, but it's kind of a skinnier wrench than normal. I don't even know where I got it from. I got tools laying all over the place, but this came in real handy when I was trying to get up underneath there. There's a little bit of bolt clearance down underneath there, so a regular size wrench wouldn't do it, but this did. So keep that in mind, you might need one of those. Alright, so here's the piece. I went ahead and cut it all down, used a drill press to get all the holes, countersinks drilled in there, as long as the pilot holes. And I went ahead and put a chamfer down the sides, just fits the appearance of the other stuff I put on there. So let's go ahead and get it installed. Alright, moving right along, here it is. I got it all installed now. Got 3 bolts in each of the sides and then across the top. Got a bunch. Everything's sunk in there nice and tight, and I can tell you that it's definitely feeling nice and rigid. It's a good add-on. I have no doubt that it physically improved the strength of the gantry. It also looks pretty cool too. So I just got to get it painted and I'll be all set. So let's go ahead and move on along with the Z-axis and get the rest of this built now. Just want to add a quick comment about the design. I left it a little bit long on both sides for a reason. When I was screwing into here, whenever you're screwing in the end grain or near it, you don't want to have the risk of it splitting apart, so that's why I did that. Also, the height of it is the same height as this. You can see how we have the clearance just right above that. Well, that's where the bottom of that piece is as well. So I didn't want to put it any lower than this piece, for fear if I ever wanted to do a tall piece or something like that, I wanted all the clearance possible. So it's a maximum size of reinforcement I can put back there. Alright, I got the last set of linear carriages on there, and I haven't tightened anything down for real yet. It's just finger tight. I haven't added any thread locking compound. I'm going to go ahead and mock this up real quick and make sure everything is where it's supposed to be before I go ahead and finalize anything. It's going to take a little while, so I'm just going to call it quits for right now and go ahead and take a break. And next time I'll go ahead and get this wrapped up and hopefully start it on the router mount. So that's it for now. There it goes.